We can't just leave this hard. The cost of living in the city, neither is it just as simple as, oh, there is more wealth in those two cities, because equally, there's also more poverty. So, like I've always said, there are always two sides to this matter. One, from the people's expectations, and two, from government's reality. So, first, what is happening from the people's side? Let's start with the housing spectrum. Look at this like a table that has 8 plates on it. From plate 1 to 4, we have different levels of homelessness. For plate 1, you have rough sleeping, just anywhere to lay their head. And then plate 2, you have crisis accommodation, refugee camping, internally displaced people, and so on. Plate 3, you have rooming houses. These are temporary shared where people can just come, take a room, and continue their life. And plate 4, you have transition housing, people in between different stages and trying to catch a rebound. So that's plate 1 to 4. And then we have plate 5 to 8. For plate 5, 6, and 7, we have public housing, community housing, rental homes, houses for rent. And then plate 8, we have home ownership. So that's the 8 different levels on the entire housing spectrum. And for every point on this spectrum, everybody needs affordable. To the provision side, which is the government side. And this is where it's going to start sounding like an economic seminar. Because really, so for every dollar or every naira the government spends, is for the hope that it's going to generate an high GR or lead to a greater good for everybody in the long run. And in the general sense of things, housing is one important tool that helps people become stable enough to become productive for the economy. So government says, let's provide housing so that we can help people become more stable and so that in the future they can give back to the economy a complete cycle of economic stability. But this is also where it gets interesting. And that's the business side of affordable housing. That we must make sure that this investment in housing first goes to people that can help us quickly turn this around and return the benefits on such investments so that we can then also increase the offer to provide more housing for others. Since the target is average income versus cost of production in determining how long it's going to take for people to pay back and return the dividend on this investment, we must make sure that the pricing is fair and the same for everybody. But what the median income for all other states may be the same, for Lagos and Abuja is different. Apart from the median income, the subsidy on these two states are also higher. For example, the 8.5 million one-bed flat costs lower than the cost of the land that flat is sitting on. So you can already see how that singular price bracket does not apply to these two locations because already the cost of land and a few other economic pointers makes it so that this singular pricing cannot apply to them. So yes, everybody wants affordable housing and government also wants to do its best, but everybody cannot get it at the same time. And that's why when it comes to the bigger agenda of improving the economy, the government then thinks like businessmen and the conversation is purely on costs, turnover, and return on investment. I hope this helps.